Hello everyone, I'm Dana, your host, and welcome to AfrEITOP, weekly English television program brought to you only on Arts TV, at this time focusing on Ethiopian and African tourism. Today in our Ethiopian Explore program, we are going to see Addis Ababa as a tourist destination post-COVID-19, especially in the stopover tourism sector. After that, I'm going to have Rahel Yufru joining me today in the AfriTour program. Stay tuned. AfrEITOP TV program is currently working, focusing on the stopover tourism of Addis Ababa city for the post-COVID-19 pandemic period. The FDRE Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Tourism Ethiopia, and Addis Ababa City Government Culture, Arts and Tourism Bureau, and Ethiopian Airlines, and other stakeholders of the tourism industry have planned to work on stopover tourism and have performed some activities during the pre-COVID-19 pandemic. In the last edition of Forbes magazine, it was indicated that Ethiopia will become one of the most visited countries after COVID-19 pandemic season. According to this, all stakeholders working in the tourism industry of the country are expected to conduct the groundwork for the rapid restoration of the smokeless industry. Addis Ababa consists of many tapped and untapped tourist destinations, having different destinations with long gate churches, monasteries, monuments, statues, museums, and so on. In our previous AfrEITOP program, focusing on stopover tourism, we've seen some tapped tourist destinations, and today we will see and present one destination which can be categorized almost under untapped destinations, considering the long history and having different features for its tourism industry of the country. The church is located nearby and behind Ethiopian Airlines. It covers 18,000 square meters and is believed that all the church heritages date back all the way to around the 16th century. The church has two caves named Washa Arsema and Washa Mikael. The church provides different spiritual services to believers, and moreover, many people from different parts of Ethiopia and abroad are coming to the church in order to get healing from the holy water and prayer. So based on the spiritual service provided to the people, the area can be categorized under medical tourism destination. The caves have many partitions as you walk in, and each partition is made for people to come inside and pray and connect with God. It is not allowed to talk to one another whilst you are inside. Although nowadays, the rooms that accommodated up to 10 people currently only accommodate up to only 3 people to pray inside due to COVID-19. The other part of the monastery is the very beautiful natural gift of nature. The area is very wide and very green and is also home to different wild animals and birds. There is also a river which supplies water to the natural vegetations on the area, and moreover, there is a unique highway bridge for you to cross over to another side. The destination is registered in Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia Culture and Tourism Bureau under the Addis Ababa City Bole Sub-City Culture and Tourism Bureau. Moreover, the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church has given attention in performing a lot of development works around the area. The Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia Ministry of Culture and Tourism is working with many stakeholders engaged in traditional and herbal medicine research centers and institutions in order to enhance the capacity of the country's medical tourism. Whilst Ethiopia is a very convenient country for medical tourism due to the huge potential both spiritually and traditionally, with this in mind, medical tourism will become one of our future destinations of tourism for healing because we've already owned different holy water centers and more. Although the destination is very near, full of tourism wealth, and blessed by nature, it's not properly promoted and does not have the recognition it deserves, and there is also a lack of some infrastructures in order to make ready for the visitors expected in the future. Finally, we would like to really thank and appreciate the lovely collaboration of Addis Ababa City Government, Culture, Arts and Tourism Bureau, Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, and Tourism Ethiopia, and also Ethiopian Airlines, ET Holidays, for all their collaborations.
Hello and welcome to AfrEITOP's updates for this week with trade and travel with me, Hanan Ibrahim. Starting off with the local tourism updates, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of Ethiopia has received a device that helps in cleaning the whole body with antimicrobial chemicals. The device, which is made locally, has been equipped with thermometer in addition to antiseptic chemicals. The Ministry of Culture and Tourism, Dr. Herod Kasa, along with other officials, have received the equipment from Addis Tech Company. The technology, if used properly at tourist destinations, hotels, and other service providers, is expected to play a positive role in improving Ethiopia's revenue from the tourism sector. Her Excellence also said tourism is one of the areas affected by the coronavirus pandemic, adding that the government has developed a tourism recovery strategy. She also has mentioned that one of the plans is to install a technology-enabled antimicrobial device at tourist destinations. The goal is to carry out antivirus activities in hotels, airports, and museums, adding that the innovation will also go a long way in creating a secure tourism system. Representative of Tourism Ethiopia, Kasaon, on his part said the institute, in collaboration with Ministry of Culture and Tourism of Ethiopia, has carried out antibacterial spraying on sandstones and other destinations in the country. He added a guide has been prepared to rehabilitate the tourism sector affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and at this tech company, General Manager Mr. Surafel Telahun has addressed his institution decided to contribute this technology in order to support the industry recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic hit areas. Moving to the continental travel updates, Seychelles has made a step forward inviting guests as the tourism has started slowly taking a fresh start, with many countries around the world starting their tourism activities. After several months of absence at the Seychelles International Airport, Emirates Airlines is the first commercial airline to land at the Paradise holiday destination on Saturday, August 1st. Etihad Airways and Ethiopian Airlines are listed as the two other airlines to have confirmed their start of operation to Seychelles in the coming weeks. The Emirates flight carrying on board 167 passengers received a warm welcome with a symbolic water cannon salute upon its arrival. Present at the airport to ensure the smooth running of the operations for the occasion was Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine, Mr. Didier Dogley, the Principal Secretary of Tourism, Mrs. Annie Lafortune, CEO of the Seychelles Civil Aviation Authority, Mr. Gary Albert, Seychelles Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Sherin Francis. Minister Dogley mentioned the day crowns long weeks of intensive planning by the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Ports and Marine, and its affiliated agencies over government departments and tourism stakeholders in the private sector for effective, safe practices. It is a great moment for us today, given there has been a lot of work done in preparation for the first commercial flight landing again on our shore after months of absence. The smooth but slightly altered operations today at the airport represents what we have been advocating, that safe tourism for Seychelles, which also means that all of us will have to be even more vigilant in our work, and our approach has been one of the produce through the selection of visitors from lower risk countries, in addition to safeguards in place to ensure we rebuild better and stronger tourism, said Minister Dogley. On her part, the Principal Secretary for Tourism, Mrs. Anne Lafortune, said this is the necessary first step for Seychelles toward recovery. We are happy to see that tourists have responded positively and are enthusiastic as we are to restart tourism. Tourists coming from the list of permitted countries will be allowed to enter Seychelles for a holiday to enjoy activities such as sightseeing and tours and island hopping and excursions, Seychelles being one of the first destinations to open for tourism in the Indian Ocean with a promise of safe tourism within a flexible environment. Moving into the international tourism updates, the United Nations World Tourism Organization is calling on all destinations to recognize the needs of travelers with disabilities or specific access requirements as they open to visitors once again. In partnership with the ONC Foundation of Spain and European Network of Accessible Tourism, the United Nations Specialized Agency has released a new guideline to ensure accessibility and responsibility to restart the program. The reopening of tourism for travelers with disabilities guide also notes the opportunities available to destinations to take steps to accommodate the specific needs of persons with disabilities, especially those requiring access and seniors as well. This is relevant now since tourism has been among the hardest hit of all major economic sectors, with business, big and small, at risk. The United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General Zura Polikashvili said much progress has been made in making tourism more accessible to all. As we guide the responsible sectors to restart the tourism, we must make sure that this progress is not rolled back. Instead, it must be stepped up as it will benefit everyone. These guidelines produced in collaboration with ONC Foundation and ENAT show that simple and thoughtful measures can make a real difference for travelers, and in return allow destinations to welcome this wide and diverse demographic as they look to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. And in the Gambia and Kenya, young tourist guides have started their first holiday season doing something very different. From what they have learned in their training as hospitality sectors, they have been redeployed to act as coronavirus guides for their local communities, raising awareness and explaining the effects of coronavirus and how to prevent the spread of the infection. Such being the situation in many African tourist resorts in 2020, with tourism reduced to almost nothing, globally tourism could lose around 120 million jobs as a result of coronavirus pandemic. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the number of holiday makers traveling abroad is forecast to halve in 2020 as more than $3 trillion gets whipped off global tourism GDP. Those were this week's AfrEITOP Travel and Trade Updates with me, Hanan Ibrahim. Stay tuned with the rest of our programs.